Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Think Future. My name is Chris Kalaboukis, and once again, we're coming at you live from deep in the heart of Silicon Valley, California. We're talking innovation startups of the future. Not necessarily those, and not necessarily in that order. If you're watching on YouTube, smack that subscribe button and hit that bell so you can be notified when a new show comes online. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast service, please subscribe and please drop a note on Apple Podcasts. I'd greatly appreciate it if you like the show. If you don't like the show, just send me an email, chris@ideateandexecute.com. So what is wrong with work? What is wrong with work? Well, I think much like education and some other fields, it needs to be completely and utterly disrupted. And I think the problem is that we had the opportunity to completely disrupt work. Well, work was completely disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. It was completely disrupted. Completely. And now that we're seeing the end of it, now that we're seeing the last vestiges of it, instead of companies taking this new model of work, this new hybrid model of work, this new remote model of work, which they were able to put in place perfectly well during the pandemic, we're starting to see all these companies, even super high-tech companies, trying to push their people back to work from an office. And I for one, am not understanding why. Because there are so many reasons why remote work works better for the worker. The worker used to have to go through horrible commutes. In fact, I think horrible commutes was the worst thing, in order to get themselves into an office where most of the time they would just basically sit at their desks with headphones on in an open office space, trying to do work with the clamor of people all around them. Where senior executives were saying, well, we need more collaboration, so everybody needs to be in the office. But the thing is, over the last 2 years, we've proven that that is not a requirement. And in fact, more people get more work done when they don't have to worry about commuting time and BS time and sitting around chewing the fat time around the water cooler. Who does it around water cooler anymore? But you see what I'm saying is that remote work is better for everyone. Better productivity, better health and wellness for the employees, better for the planet. Less fumes from people sitting in traffic, driving to and fro. So why is it that more companies, even high-tech, even advanced, even futuristic companies, have not embraced this type of remote work? Well, I don't understand it myself. But I think, if I were to postulate, it would have something to do with control and power. Because if you have tools that will allow your people to collaborate instantly, no matter where they are in the world, and collaborate in real time and asynchronously. And if you think about it, pretty much able to read, especially when you're using video just like this, be able to read the individual on the other side of the phone, the other side of the Zoom call. Basically replicate being in person with the team. If we could cut out the commute time, it would improve things immeasurably for everyone. Why do we still need to control people? It tells me that there's a trust issue. If managers need to implement surveillance tools to make sure that their people are working, then there's something wrong with that relationship. Maybe you didn't hire the right person. I know I work from home all the time. I've worked from home, I've worked remotely since 2011, since I first started this company. And sometimes I did have to go into offices when I worked with my customers, and sometimes I didn't. Most of the time, I didn't. And in fact, I've said this since 2011. If I were to start a company today, I would make it 100% remote. And I don't understand why companies out there that are not 100% remote don't go 100% remote, because it's better for everyone all around. And the COVID pandemic proved it. A crisis came along which forced change. And it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad that we need crises to be able to force people to change, because as human beings, we fear change so much. Well, I don't, but most of us fear change so much that we do whatever we can to fight tooth and nail against change. Why do you think there's an entire science of change management to try and gently nudge human beings to understand and deal with change? We have such a fear of change that we need an entire science to handle it. Obviously, I wish we didn't have that much of a fear of change, but that's the way it is. So when a crisis comes along, a crisis that is horrific in some ways, but it can show us the light in others. It can tell us that this other way that we've been doing business is working well for almost everyone, except for those power-hungry folks, those control-hungry folks who feel that they need everyone in the office. Or if they don't have people in the office, they require surveillance tools to make sure that their people are working. What's wrong with this picture? If your manager needs surveillance tools to ensure that you're working, two things are going on. That manager is an a-hole, or you aren't putting in the effort. Both of those things are problematic. But you see, this is the time. This is the moment when we can all jump into this new disruptive way of working. We can put behind us the old ways of working. But if we don't do that now, if we don't take the opportunity today to do that, then what's going to end up happening is that we won't until there may be another crisis. But the thing is, and I've said this before, is that I really hate the fact that human beings need a crisis to change. But now I'm thinking to myself, if we don't have a crisis, then we never change. So when crisis does come along, try to use it to change in a positive way, because that might be the only time that you can get people to change. And if that's what has to happen, at least guide them to change the right way. And that's what I try to do. That's it for me for today. See you next time, and until then, don't forget to think future.